Happy Friday, everyone. As you can see, clearly working from home. Um, Thought I'd try some new technology today that I've been exploring, and it's just another way that we might be able to share information on demand kind of concept. So, this is called Screencastify, which allows you to record through PowerPoint. And so, I actually wanted to take 10 minutes and walk you all through actually some of the learnings that I had from a recent HR tech conference that I attended called Unleash. But before I start, I thought I'd share an image that's probably all too familiar for all of us, right? We're always connected. Change in technology is the new normal, and really, this was the premise of the conference. And so, one of the speakers that we actually got to hear from is his name's Peter Hinson, and man, this guy really lit up the audience. He started talking a lot about the day after tomorrow model. Maybe hard to see, but what he's talking about really is value creation and how most of our organizations, the perception is that right we spend our time allocated around work for today. That's about 70% generating a little bit of value. Work on tomorrow, which may be about 20% of our work week, which is future value, and day after tomorrow, right, is long term value. But we think we only spend 10%. In reality, it's more around the fact that we probably spend as an organization 93% on today, 7% on tomorrow, and really 0% on day after tomorrow. And not to mention what Peter pointed out was that there is a bunch of stuff here that's not even noted, which stands for SOY, or the shit of yesterday, right? That keeps us from being able to really do long-term value creation and thinking about how we innovate. So, you know, just a good litmus test for ourselves on an individual basis is how much time are we investing in creating long-term value. He then talked a lot about different types of innovative frameworks, right? Talking about the what being what type different types of innovation, service innovation, product innovation, model innovation, and market innovation. He also talked about the how, right? Leadership disruption, cultural disruption, platform disruption, extreme customer centricity, right? And then going into what I really enjoyed, and will always be a memorable image in my mind, that's imprinted in my mind, is he asked an audience of about 500 people, right, to stand up if you don't know what you're doing at work. And of course, there were only about a handful of people because they're probably with their work peers, and they don't want to stand up because they don't want their boss knowing that they don't know what they're doing. Um, and what he ended up doing is actually applauding those that stood up not knowing what they're doing, because when you think about it, startups, right, they don't know what they're doing. 99% of the people don't know what they're doing. And maybe you have 1% of the board of advisors that do know what they're doing. Whereas more established companies, right, multinationals, 99% of the time people know what they're doing, and 1% don't know what they're doing. And the push that he's making is that these multinational companies need to build the right systems, the behaviors, mindsets to help people spend more time doing work that they don't know what they're doing, right? And I think clearly I made a point around this in our last call that, you know, Generation Now ERG is like a startup, right? It's okay. I think we should be comfortable being uncomfortable and also acknowledging that we don't know what we're doing. So we're open to each and every one of our own opinions, perspective, ideas, right? This is kind of an all in mindset, as we have alluded to as being one of our guiding principles. And so I thought I'd share this piece because it's really stuck with me. And as I even look at my work week on a weekly basis, I try and make sure that I carve out time to spend time on doing things that are going to be stretching me in different ways. And so, again, right, the fundamental shift, we need to figure out how to be relevant in this age of fluidity, right? It's no longer static, right? It's going to be moving to more fluid. So from career to more project-based roles, from contracts to assignments, um, from this employee loyalty to what's more relevant. There's just a few examples of the shift that we're going to continue to see. He also talked about, the need that we're going to have in the fourth industrial revolution, or as we think about the future of work, that we're going to need more creativity and skills to move from this traditional organization right here to more of an empowered organization, right? And why he's saying this is that it's going to be highly important for us to have these specialty skills around creative design and analytics in order to continue to move our organization forward, right? And continue to find ways to generate that long-term value and stay relevant in the day after tomorrow. One of the best things that I thought was pertinent for us as a Generation Now ERG was that he talked about, we always have these audit committees that are all about making sure that we always color in between the lines. But why not have a disruption committee to challenge us in thinking, why can't we color outside the lines, right? And I know there have been some few examples of the past where we've set up millennial advisory councils for businesses to come and for us to provide strategic insights, something for us to think about as we continue our journey. Again, what he was talking about is just different ways for us to think about innovation. Not only cultural innovation, right? It's really thinking about our generational innovation and diversity. He talked a lot about different ways for us in terms of behaviors, VUCA mindset, network fluidity. How do we bring insights to relevance? How can we also, develop more of an agile way of working and agile infrastructure? What I loved as well was that we talk a lot about mindset. We talk a lot about skill set. This new one was a lot about heart set. And what, going into a tech conference, I thought I was going to just be completely immersed in technologies and very technical workshops, but it was actually more around the fact that all these tech startups are actually trying to figure out how they could leverage and embrace technologies to deepen human relationships with one another, how to drive more inclusivity. And so really tapping into not only your skill set and your mindset, but how do we as humans connect heart to heart in today's day and age, right? This was one of my most favorite frameworks, right? He talked a lot about the sense, try, scale, and run. So as we think about sense, it's kind of like your radar, where you open up your aperture to really think about and understand all the different things that you may want to experiment with. And then you pick one, and then you try it, and then you really experiment, fail fast, and see, is this something that's worth trying to figure out how we can scale, right? And then we need to figure out how we scale that at J&J. And let's be honest, it's not easy, right? But we scale it and then we run with it. And if we can kind of try and think about how we might be able to incorporate this model in the sense, try, scale, run, I think that'll help us move more in an agile way, in a more startup mindset. So as we kind of talk about startup mindset, right, let's really make sure that we avoid this, right? Let's, avoid same old thinking equals same old results. Let's not be someone that's an idea killer, a VP of no, or a VP of status quo, stay the course. Looks like I got 15 more seconds on my recording, so just wanted to experiment with this. Would love your feedback. Excited for us to continue this journey together to future-proof J&J.